Tonight, your mind may still be racing even though the day is over. Thoughts replay, worries whisper, and your body remains alert as if it must stay on guard. This is not because you are doing something wrong. It is because your mind has not yet been reminded that it is safe to rest. Many people try to calm the mind by forcing silence, by pushing thoughts away, by demanding peace. But the mind does not soften under pressure. It softens when it feels reassured. Like a child at night, it settles when it hears gentle, steady words spoken with care. Notice how your body feels right now. The tightness in the shoulders, the shallow breath, the sense of being on, even though you are tired. These are signals, not problems. They are asking for comfort, not control. The mind listens closely to how you speak to yourself in moments like this. Affirmations are not about pretending everything is perfect. They are about choosing words that create safety. When spoken slowly, with presence, they signal the nervous system to stand down. They tell the body it no longer has to protect you from imagined danger. You don't need to understand every thought to calm your mind. You don't need to solve tomorrow tonight. You only need to offer your mind a new message, one it can return to when old patterns try to take over. Repetition creates familiarity. Familiarity creates peace. As these words are spoken, something subtle begins to shift. The breath deepens, the heart softens, the mind stops scanning for threats that are no longer here. This is how calm begins, not all at once, but gently, safely, naturally. Stay with this moment. Let each affirmation land fully before moving to the next. Tonight is not about effort, it is about reassurance. And with each word you choose, you remind your mind of something it has forgotten. You are safe tonight. I want to begin by speaking gently about why the mind so often refuses to rest when the day is over. Many people believe there is something wrong with them because their thoughts continue long after the lights are turned off. Yet the mind is not misbehaving. It is doing what it has learned to do, stay alert, in order to keep you safe. The mind learned vigilance through repetition. It learned that thinking ahead, reviewing the past, and preparing for what might happen next was a form of protection. Over time, this pattern became familiar. Familiarity creates habit, and habit continues even when it is no longer needed. At night, when the body wishes to rest, the mind may not yet know that it is allowed to stop. I want you to notice that the mind does not race because it enjoys doing so. It races because it believes there is still something to manage, something to resolve, something to guard against. This belief may be old, formed during times when safety felt uncertain. The mind has not been told that those times are over. Many people try to quiet the mind by pushing thoughts away. They demand silence. They scold themselves for not being calm. Yet pressure does not reassure the mind. Pressure tells it that danger is still present. The mind responds by becoming more active, not less. The mind is very much like a loyal helper who has not been given the night off. It continues to work because it has not received permission to rest. When you understand this, frustration can soften into compassion. Compassion is the beginning of calm. I want you to recognize that the mind listens to tone more than to instruction. It does not respond to commands such as be quiet or stop thinking. It responds to messages of safety. When the mind feels safe, it relaxes naturally. At night, the absence of activity can make thoughts feel louder. During the day, movement and sound distract the mind. At night, stillness gives thoughts space to surface. This does not mean there are more thoughts. It means they are more noticeable. Many people interpret this as a problem to be fixed. Yet it is simply an invitation to relate to the mind differently. The mind is asking for reassurance, not correction. When reassurance is offered, the mind begins to slow. I often say that every thought we think is creating our future, yet tonight is not about shaping tomorrow. It is about settling into now. The mind does not need to plan or review in order to rest. It needs to be reminded that nothing is required of it in this moment. I want you to consider how often you carry responsibility into the night. You may feel that resting means neglecting something important. This belief keeps the mind alert. When you release the idea that you must stay watchful to be responsible, the mind receives relief. The mind learned to stay active because it believed it was necessary. It did not learn how to rest. Rest is not a failure of thinking. It is a skill that can be relearned through kindness and repetition. You may notice that when you approach the mind with patience instead of irritation, it responds differently. The pace of thoughts may slow slightly. Gaps may appear between them. These gaps are important. They are signs that the mind is beginning to trust the moment. I want you to trust that you do not need to stop every thought for calm to arrive. Calm does not require silence. It requires safety. Safety allows thoughts to pass without demanding attention. When the mind feels safe, it no longer scans for threats. It stops replaying conversations. It releases tomorrow's concerns. This release happens naturally when the inner environment becomes reassuring. I invite you to see the mind not as something to control, but as something to comfort. Comfort does not argue, it stays. It speaks gently, it repeats what needs to be heard. As we continue, we will begin offering the mind the words it needs to hear. Words that say, "You are safe now." Words that say, "You may rest." Words that say, "Nothing is required of you tonight." For now, let this understanding settle. Your mind is not restless because you are failing. It is restless because it has not yet been reminded that it is allowed to rest. And once it hears that message, spoken with sincerity and care, it will begin to soften quietly, gradually, and without force. I want to speak with you now about the body, because the mind does not exist on its own. The mind listens closely to the body's signals, and when the body remains tense, the mind stays alert. Many people try to calm their thoughts without realizing that the body is still holding the memory of the day. Notice how the body feels when you lie down at night. The shoulders may still be lifted, the jaw may be tight, the breath may be shallow, as if the body is waiting for something to happen. These are not problems, they are signals. The body is saying, "I am still on guard." The body learned to stay alert for the same reason the mind did. It learned through repetition. Through days of rushing, worrying, responding, and holding things together. When the day ends, the body does not automatically know it is safe to release. It needs reassurance just as much as the mind does. I want you to understand that a busy mind is often a reflection of a guarded body. When muscles remain tense, the mind interprets this as danger. It continues scanning, reviewing, and planning. Calm cannot arrive fully until the body receives the message that it no longer needs to protect you. The body responds very quickly to kindness. Even a small shift in attention can create change. When you notice your breath and allow it to slow without forcing it, the body begins to soften. When the body softens, the mind receives new information. It begins to relax its watch. Many people believe they must relax the body through effort. They try to make tension go away, yet effort creates more tension. The body does not respond to commands. It responds to invitation. Invitation says, "You are allowed to let go now." I often encourage people to place a hand gently on their chest or abdomen at night. This simple gesture speaks directly to the body. It says, "I am here with you." The body recognizes presence immediately. Presence feels safe. When the body feels safe, breathing changes naturally. The breath deepens without instruction. The rhythm becomes slower. This change sends a signal to the mind that it no longer needs to stay alert. Calm begins in this quiet exchange between body and breath. I want you to notice that you do not need to relax everything at once. The body releases in stages, a softening in the shoulders, a loosening in the jaw. A deeper exhale. Each small release matters. Each one tells the mind that the environment is safe. The body remembers times when rest was interrupted, times when it needed to stay ready. These memories are not held as stories. They are held as tension. Affirmations spoken gently can reach these places without analysis. The body listens to tone more than words. You may find that as the body begins to soften, thoughts arise more clearly for a moment. This is natural. As tension releases, stored impressions surface. There is no need to engage them. Simply continue offering reassurance. The body will continue to settle. I want you to trust that calming the body is not something you do perfectly. It is something you allow. Allowing creates space. Space allows the body to complete its own process of release. The body is always moving toward balance. It wants to rest. It wants to restore. When you stop asking it to perform and begin offering comfort, it responds with gratitude. Gratitude in the body feels like ease. As we continue, we will use affirmations that speak directly to both mind and body. Words that tell the body it is safe to rest. Words that tell the mind it no longer needs to watch. For now, let this understanding settle gently. The mind calms more easily when the body feels safe. And the body feels safe when it is met with kindness instead of control. This is how calm begins to take root, quietly, patiently, and naturally. I want to speak with you now about why affirmations are so effective at night, especially when force has failed. Affirmations do not argue with the mind. They do not demand change. They offer reassurance. And reassurance is the language both the mind and body understand when they are tired of being on guard. Many people misunderstand affirmations. They believe affirmations are meant to convince or override what they feel, yet true affirmations are not meant to fight fear or doubt. They are meant to soothe them. When spoken gently, affirmations feel like a steady hand rather than a correction. The mind becomes restless when it feels unheard. When you try to silence it, it speaks louder. Affirmations work because they acknowledge the mind's need for safety. They say, I see you, you may rest now. This acknowledgement allows the mind to soften without resistance. I want you to remember that repetition creates familiarity. Familiarity creates trust. When a message is repeated calmly and consistently, the mind begins to believe it. Belief here does not mean agreement, it means relaxation. The mind stops questioning and starts settling. At night, the mind is more receptive than during the day. The defenses are lower. The noise of activity is gone. Words spoken now reach deeper places. This is why affirmations offered before sleep can have a lasting effect. They settle into the subconscious and continue working quietly. Affirmations do not require you to feel convinced. They do not require you to feel calm immediately. They only ask that you listen. Listening allows the nervous system to register a new message. Over time, this new message replaces the old habit of vigilance. Many people try to calm the mind by reasoning with it. They explain why worry is unnecessary, yet the mind does not calm through logic at night. It calms through tone. Tone carries emotional information. A gentle tone tells the mind that danger has passed. I want you to notice that affirmations work best when they are spoken slowly. Speed feels like urgency. Slowness feels like safety. When words are spoken slowly, the body has time to respond. The breath deepens. Muscles release. Calm spreads naturally. Affirmations also work because they redirect attention without force. Instead of pushing thoughts away, they give the mind something safe to rest on. The mind prefers focus to emptiness. A soothing phrase becomes a place to settle. You may notice that as you repeat an affirmation, other thoughts arise. This is not failure. It is the mind releasing stored content. Simply return to the affirmation gently. Each return strengthens the new pattern of reassurance. I want you to trust that affirmations do not need to be perfect. They need to feel kind. If a phrase feels comforting, it is working. If it feels strained, adjust it until it feels true enough to soothe rather than convince. The purpose of affirmations tonight is not to change your life. It is to change your inner environment. When the inner environment feels safe, calm follows naturally. Affirmations are not about controlling the mind. They are about befriending it. A befriended mind does not need to stay alert. It rests because it feels supported. As we continue, we will begin choosing words that create this feeling of support. Words that feel like permission rather than instruction. Words that the mind can return to when old habits arise. For now, let this understanding settle. Affirmations work not because they are powerful statements, but because they are gentle reminders. Reminders that you are safe. Reminders that nothing is required of you tonight. And when the mind hears these reminders spoken with care, it begins to let go quietly, willingly, and without struggle. I want to speak with you now about the importance of choosing words that create safety, because the mind does not calm in response to clever language or impressive phrases. It calms in response to warmth. The words you choose at night must feel like comfort, not instruction. They must feel like companionship, not correction. Many people select affirmations that sound hopeful but feel distant. Words that speak of perfection or future happiness can sometimes increase tension if the mind does not feel ready to believe them. At night, the mind does not want promises. It wants reassurance that it is safe right now. Safety is created through tone as much as meaning. A gentle phrase spoken slowly carries far more comfort than a positive statement spoken with urgency. The mind listens for sincerity. When words are spoken softly, the body relaxes enough to receive them. I want you to notice how different it feels to say, "I am calm," versus saying, "It is safe for me to rest now." The first can feel like a demand. The second feels like permission. Permission invites release. Demands invite resistance. Words that create safety acknowledge the present moment rather than arguing with it. They do not deny that the mind has been busy. They do not scold it for worrying. Instead, they gently remind it that the reason for alertness is no longer here. I often encourage choosing words that speak directly to the body as well as the mind. Phrases such as "my body knows how to relax," or "I allow myself to soften," communicate trust. Trust is what the body needs in order to let go of tension. You may notice that when you choose kinder words, the mind resists less. Resistance often arises when affirmations feel like they are trying to change something too quickly. Safety-oriented words allow the mind to remain exactly as it is while gently inviting calm. The mind does not need to be told it is wrong for thinking. It needs to be told it is not alone. Words that feel like presence, "I am here," "I am with you," create immediate soothing. Presence reduces the need for vigilance. I want you to trust your own response to words. If a phrase feels comforting, it is the right one. If it feels forced or hollow, let it go. The effectiveness of affirmations comes from resonance, not perfection. Words that create safety often sound simple. They do not try to impress. They sound like what you would say to someone you love when they are tired. This simplicity allows the mind to rest rather than analyze. As you repeat these words, you may notice your breath slowing naturally. This is the body recognizing safety. The mind follows the body's lead. Calm begins to spread without effort. You may also notice that the urge to monitor your thoughts softens. This is an important shift. Monitoring keeps the mind active. Safety allows it to settle. I want you to remember that affirmations are not meant to eliminate every thought. They are meant to change the inner tone from urgency to reassurance. When reassurance is present, thoughts lose their edge. As we continue, allow your affirmations to feel like a gentle voice beside you in the dark, not telling you what to do, simply reminding you that you are safe, supported, and allowed to rest. These are the words that calm the mind, not by force, but by kindness. I want to speak with you now about repetition, because repetition is one of the gentlest ways the mind learns to feel safe. The mind does not relax because it is told something once. It relaxes when it hears the same reassuring message again and again, spoken with patience and care. Repetition tells the mind that this message can be trusted. Many people worry that repeating affirmations is unnecessary or mechanical, yet repetition is not meant to convince the mind through logic. It is meant to soothe the nervous system through familiarity. Familiar words create a rhythm the mind can settle into, much like a lullaby offered at night. The mind often repeats worries automatically. It circles the same thoughts because repetition feels familiar. Affirmations use this same principle, but in a kinder direction. They replace anxious repetition with soothing repetition. Over time, the mind learns a new pattern without being forced. I want you to notice how the body responds when a phrase is repeated slowly. The shoulders soften, the jaw loosens, the breath deepens. These changes happen because repetition allows the body to stop listening for danger. When danger is no longer expected, rest becomes possible. Repetition works best when there is no rush. Speaking an affirmation too quickly carries urgency. Urgency tells the mind it must stay alert. Slowness tells the mind it is safe to rest. Let each repetition land fully before moving to the next. You may notice that your attention wanders as you repeat affirmations. This is natural. The mind is releasing old habits. Each time you gently return to the words, you strengthen the new pattern of reassurance. There is no need to judge wandering. Returning is enough. I want you to trust that repetition does not need to feel meaningful every time. Some repetitions may feel neutral, some may feel comforting, some may feel distant. All of them are working. The nervous system responds to consistency more than intensity. Repetition also allows the mind to stop searching. When a familiar phrase is present, the mind has somewhere to rest. It no longer needs to scan for threats or solutions. It settles into the known rhythm of the words. I often encourage people to choose 1 or 2 affirmations for the night rather than many. Fewer words repeated gently create more safety than many words spoken once. Simplicity allows depth. As repetition continues, you may notice quiet spaces appearing between words or breaths. These spaces are precious. They are signs that the mind is letting go. There is no need to fill them. Let them be. The purpose of repetition is not to achieve calm quickly. It is to create an environment where calm can arrive naturally. Repetition provides that environment by reminding the mind again and again that nothing is required right now. You may find that over time, the affirmation begins to repeat itself without effort. This is a sign that it has been received. The mind carries it gently instead of carrying worry. As we continue, allow repetition to feel like a companion rather than a task. There is nothing to accomplish. There is only the gentle offering of reassurance again and again until the mind recognizes that it is safe to rest. This is how repetition becomes a pathway to peace. I want to speak with you now about releasing tomorrow for tonight, because one of the greatest reasons the mind stays active is the belief that it must take care of what comes next. The mind often feels responsible for protecting you by planning, reviewing, and preparing. At night, this habit does not turn off on its own. It needs reassurance. The mind believes that thinking ahead is a form of care. It worries that if it stops, something important will be forgotten or neglected. This belief keeps the mind alert long after the body is ready to rest. Yet planning is not the same as safety. Safety comes from trust, not vigilance. I want you to notice how often your thoughts drift toward tomorrow as soon as you lie down. Tasks, conversations, decisions, and concerns rise up as if now is the only time they can be handled. This is not because they are urgent. It is because the mind has not been told it can wait. Affirmations help the mind set things down gently. They do not dismiss responsibility. They simply remind the mind that responsibility can be paused. Words such as, "I can rest now and return to this later," give the mind permission it rarely gives itself. The body responds immediately when this permission is felt. Muscles soften, breathing deepens, the heart slows. These changes signal to the mind that its watch is no longer needed. When the body relaxes, the mind begins to follow. I want you to understand that nothing important is lost when you rest. Life continues even while you sleep. Solutions often appear more clearly after rest, not before it. The mind does its best work when it is refreshed, not when it is exhausted. Many people feel guilt when they try to set worries aside. They believe that resting means being careless. Yet rest is not avoidance. It is preparation. Rest restores clarity. Without rest, the mind loops. With rest, the mind resolves. You may notice resistance when you try to let go of tomorrow. Thoughts may insist, "I must remember this," or "I cannot forget about that." Greet these thoughts kindly. Let them know they are not being dismissed, only postponed. Postponement is an act of trust. Trusting life for the night is a powerful step. It tells the nervous system that you are not alone in carrying responsibility. When responsibility is shared with life, it becomes lighter. The mind does not need to hold everything by itself. I often encourage people to imagine placing tomorrow's concerns in a safe place before sleep. Not to solve them, not to organize them, but simply to set them down. This gesture, whether imagined or felt, signals closure for the night. Affirmations spoken here may sound like gentle boundaries. Tonight is for rest. I have done enough for today. These words do not limit you. They protect your rest. Protection of rest is an act of self-love. As you repeat these reassuring words, you may notice that the pull toward planning weakens. Thoughts may still arise, but they carry less urgency. Urgency fades when the mind feels supported rather than solely responsible. I want you to remember that the night is not meant for resolution. It is meant for restoration. Restoration gives the mind what it needs to meet tomorrow, with clarity and calm. As we move toward the final part, let this understanding settle gently. You do not need to solve tomorrow tonight. You are allowed to rest now. Life will still be here in the morning. And when the mind truly hears this message, it begins to loosen its grip quietly, willingly, and with relief. I want to speak with you now about allowing calm to carry you into sleep without effort and without expectation. Calm does not arrive because you demand it. It arrives when the mind and body finally feel safe enough to let go. By now, you may notice that something has already begun to soften. As affirmations settle into you, the breath finds a gentler rhythm. The body grows heavier against the bed, thoughts lose their sharpness. These changes are subtle, yet they are signs that calm is present. Calm often arrives quietly, without announcement. I want you to trust this quiet. Many people wait for a clear signal that it is time to sleep. Yet sleep comes when you stop waiting for it. When you allow calm to be enough, sleep follows naturally. You may notice thoughts still passing through your mind. Let them come and go without engaging. They no longer require attention. The mind is learning that it does not need to respond to every thought. This learning takes place through experience, not effort. I want you to feel the support beneath you. The surface you are resting on is holding your weight completely. You do not need to hold yourself up. This physical support mirrors the emotional support you are offering yourself now. As calm deepens, there may be moments of drifting. Thoughts may blur. Sensations may soften. These are signs that the mind is releasing its grip. There is no need to guide this process. Simply allow it. If wakefulness returns briefly, greet it kindly. There is no failure here. Simply return to a reassuring phrase or to the feeling of your breath. Each return strengthens the association between rest and safety. I want you to trust that sleep knows when to arrive. You do not need to invite it forcefully. You only need to remain open. Openness allows the natural rhythm of rest to take over. The night is not something to get through. It is something to rest within. When you stop asking the night to do anything for you, it gives you what you need. I often say that peace begins inside. Tonight, peace does not need to be created. It has been remembered. Remembered through kindness, repetition, and reassurance. As you lie here, let your affirmations fade into feeling. Words may dissolve, but their message remains. You are safe. You are supported. Nothing is required of you now. Allow yourself to drift without watching. Let calm carry you gently from waking to sleep. And if sleep comes slowly, let that be all right. Rest is already happening. The body is restoring. The mind is learning a new way to be. Tonight, you have given yourself the greatest gift, permission to rest. And with that permission, calm becomes your companion through the night. I want to stay with you now in this quiet space that comes after the words have done their work. An epilogue is not meant to teach or guide. It is meant to allow. It is a place where the mind no longer needs instruction and the body no longer needs reassurance, because something deeper has already understood. Tonight, you did not try to conquer your thoughts. You did not argue with your worries or demand peace from yourself. Instead, you offered kindness. And kindness changes the inner atmosphere in ways effort never can. The calm you feel now may be subtle, but subtle calm is often the most enduring kind. Many people believe calm should feel like silence, yet true calm often feels like permission. Permission to let thoughts pass without following them. Permission to feel the body soften without checking if it is working. Permission to rest without explanation. This permission is what allows the nervous system to settle at last. You may notice now that your relationship with your mind feels different. Thoughts may still appear, but they no longer feel like commands. They feel like visitors, visitors who can come and go without disturbing your rest. This shift is profound, even if it feels ordinary. I want you to remember that your mind was never your enemy. It learned to protect you in the only way it knew how. Tonight, you taught it something new. You showed it that protection can look like gentleness, that safety can come from reassurance instead of vigilance. This learning does not happen in one night alone. It deepens through repetition. Each time you speak kindly to yourself at night, you reinforce this new pattern. Over time, the mind begins to anticipate calm instead of tension when you lie down. Familiarity creates ease. You may still have nights when old habits return, nights when thoughts feel louder or worries feel closer. These nights are not failures, they are reminders. Reminders to return to the same kindness you practiced tonight. The mind learns through consistency, not perfection. I want you to trust that even when you forget, something has changed. Awareness remains. You notice sooner when you are tense. You soften more quickly. You return to reassurance instead of frustration. These are signs that calm is becoming familiar. The body, too, remembers this experience. It remembers what it feels like to be allowed to rest without being managed. Over time, the body begins to release tension more quickly at night. Breath deepens sooner. Muscles let go with less effort. These changes happen quietly, without announcement. I often say that the body responds to love more readily than to discipline. Tonight, you offered love in the form of gentle words and patient repetition. Love speaks directly to the cells. It tells them they are safe. And cells that feel safe function more harmoniously. You may notice changes beyond sleep. A calmer night often leads to a gentler morning. You wake with less urgency. The day begins without the same pressure. This is not coincidence. Rest restores balance. Balance changes how you meet life. Calm at night also teaches you something about calm during the day. You learn that peace does not come from controlling circumstances. It comes from how you speak to yourself when things feel uncertain. The same reassurance you offered tonight can be offered anytime. Affirmations are not limited to bedtime. They are a way of relating to yourself, a way of choosing kindness over criticism. When this way of relating becomes familiar, calm becomes more accessible in every moment. You may find that your inner voice grows softer over time, not silent, but kind. Guidance replaces judgment. Encouragement replaces pressure. This shift changes everything. Life feels less like something to endure and more like something to participate in. I want you to notice how different it feels to rest without guilt. Many people carry guilt into sleep, believing they should have done more. Tonight, you set that belief aside. You allowed yourself to be enough. This is a powerful act of self-love. Self-love is not something you earn through productivity. It is something you practice through presence. Each time you choose to rest without apology, you reinforce the belief that you are worthy of care simply because you exist. There is a quiet dignity in allowing yourself to rest. It says, I trust life to continue without my constant supervision. This trust lightens the mind and softens the body. Trust is the doorway to peace. You may also notice that worries lose some of their grip when you stop engaging them at night. Problems often feel smaller in the morning, not because they disappeared, but because rest gave you perspective. Perspective comes from space. Space comes from calm. I want you to remember that you do not need to solve your life before you sleep. Sleep is not a reward for having everything figured out. Sleep is a necessity that supports clarity. Clarity arises after rest, not before it. The affirmations you spoke tonight may fade from memory, but their effect remains. The nervous system remembers the feeling of safety. The body remembers the release. The mind remembers that it can let go. These memories shape future nights. You are teaching yourself a new rhythm, a rhythm of slowing down instead of pushing through, a rhythm of reassurance instead of urgency, a rhythm of rest instead of vigilance. This rhythm becomes part of you with time. I want you to trust that this process is gentle by nature. There is no need to rush it. Each night you offer yourself kindness is enough. Even one kind sentence repeated with sincerity can change the tone of your inner world. You may find that you sleep more deeply, or you may simply lie awake with less struggle. Both are forms of rest. Rest does not always look the same. The body takes what it needs when it feels safe. There may be nights when sleep is light. On those nights, let rest be enough. Let lying quietly be sufficient. The body restores even in stillness. Stillness is not wasted time. I want you to notice how often you place expectations on yourself. Expectations about how quickly you should calm down, how deeply you should sleep, how peaceful you should feel. These expectations create pressure. Pressure keeps the mind active. Tonight, you released expectation. You allowed calm to arrive in its own way. This allowance is the heart of healing. Healing, too, unfolds when it is not rushed. You may begin to see a pattern. The same principle that calms the mind at night supports healing, peace, and balance in all areas of life. Resistance tightens. Allowing softens. Softening allows movement. Life does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present. Presence is what you practice tonight. Presence without judgment. Presence without demand. This presence is deeply nourishing. I want you to know that you are not alone in this process. Life supports you in ways you may not always notice. The rhythm of night and day itself supports rest and renewal. When you align with this rhythm, life feels less like a struggle. As you continue, allow yourself to trust this natural rhythm. Trust that night is for resting. Trust that tomorrow can wait. Trust that you are safe enough to let go. You may notice gratitude arising quietly. Not forced gratitude, but a simple appreciation for the stillness, for the breath, for the feeling of being held. This gratitude is a sign that tension has eased. I often say that life loves you. Tonight, that love was experienced as permission. Permission to stop, permission to rest, permission to be exactly as you are without needing to improve. This love is always available. You do not need to earn it. You only need to soften enough to feel it. As this epilogue settles, let it feel like a continuation rather than a conclusion. Calm is not something you finish. It is something you return to, again and again. Each return becomes easier. You are learning to meet yourself at night with kindness. This learning changes your relationship with yourself in profound ways. It teaches you that you can be trusted with your own care. I want you to rest in this knowing. Your mind can learn to be calm. Your body can learn to relax. You are capable of offering yourself the reassurance you have always needed. Nothing more is required tonight. You have done enough by being here. You are safe to rest now. And as sleep carries you gently forward, let it carry with it this truth. Calm is not something you force. It is something you allow. Life is holding you. The night is kind. And you may rest. Before we part for the night, let us rest together in a few gentle moments of quiet. Nothing needs to be done now. Nothing needs to be remembered. Simply allow yourself to receive the stillness that is already here. Notice your breath as it moves in and out without effort. You do not need to change it. The breath knows how to soothe the body all by itself. With each exhale, imagine releasing the day. There is no need to carry it into sleep. If thoughts arise, greet them kindly and let them pass. They do not need answers tonight. They can wait. You are allowed to rest without solving anything. Feel the support beneath you. You are being held completely. There is nothing you need to hold together anymore. Life continues gently, even while you sleep. Quietly remind yourself, I am safe now. I have done enough for today. It is all right to rest. Let these words settle into you like a soft blanket. You do not need to hurry towards sleep. Rest is already happening. Calm is already here. Allow yourself to drift, knowing you are supported, cared for, and at peace. The night is kind, and you may rest. I want to remain with you now in this quiet place that comes after everything has been said. This is not a place of instruction. It is a place of permission. Permission for your mind to stop listening for guidance and for your body to simply receive what has already been offered. Tonight, you chose gentleness over effort. You chose reassurance instead of pressure. That choice may feel small, but it reaches very deep. The mind and body remember how they are treated, and kindness leaves a lasting impression. You may notice that your thoughts no longer feel quite as urgent. They may still appear, but they carry less weight. This is not because you solved them. It is because you stopped believing they needed immediate attention. The mind relaxes when it is no longer treated as an emergency responder. I want you to understand something important. Your mind was never trying to disturb your peace. It was trying to protect you. It learned to stay alert because at some point in your life, alertness felt necessary. Tonight, you gently taught it a new truth, that safety does not require constant watchfulness. This teaching does not happen all at once. It happens through repetition, patience, and tone. Each time you speak kindly to yourself at night, you strengthen this new understanding. Over time, the mind begins to anticipate rest instead of tension when you lie down. The body, too, has learned something tonight. It has learned that it is allowed to let go without consequence, that it does not have to stay tight to keep you safe. This learning is stored not as thought, but as sensation. Muscles remember release. Breath remembers ease. You may notice in the coming days that your body softens more quickly when you pause, that your breath deepens without effort. These are not things you make happen. They are responses to safety. Safety has become familiar. I often speak about self-love, and tonight was a practice of it. Not the dramatic kind, but the quiet kind. The kind that shows up as patience, as choosing softer words, as allowing yourself to be human at the end of the day. Self-love does not demand improvement before it offers care. It offers care first. From that care, change happens naturally. This is the order that the body understands. You may still experience nights when rest comes slowly, nights when the mind revisits old habits. These nights are not failures. They are opportunities to practice the same kindness again. Each practice strengthens trust. Trust is what calms the nervous system most deeply. I want you to trust that even when you forget to be gentle, the learning is not lost. Awareness returns more quickly now. You notice sooner when you are tense. You soften sooner. This is progress, even if it does not announce itself. The calm you invited tonight may ripple outward in ways you do not expect. A calmer night often leads to a clearer morning. A clearer morning affects how you speak to yourself, how you meet others, how you respond to challenges. Rest changes perspective. Perspective is one of the greatest gifts of calm. When the mind is rested, problems feel less threatening. Choices feel more available. You respond instead of react. This does not come from effort. It comes from balance. I want you to remember that balance is not something you earn by doing everything right. It is something you return to when you stop fighting yourself. Tonight, you stopped fighting. Even briefly, that matters. The affirmations you used were not meant to erase your thoughts. They were meant to hold them gently until they no longer needed your attention. This holding is what allows the mind to settle. You may notice that certain phrases stay with you. They may arise on their own during the night or in the days ahead. This is a sign that they have been received. The mind repeats what feels safe. Over time, these phrases may replace old worry patterns, not because you force them to, but because the nervous system prefers familiarity that soothes rather than familiarity that alarms. I want you to know that you are capable of creating this inner environment again whenever you need it. Calm is not something outside you. It is a state you allow by how you speak to yourself and how you listen inwardly. There is no need to be perfect with this. Kindness does not require consistency to be effective. Even one gentle moment can shift the tone of an entire evening. You may also find that as your nights grow calmer, your days feel less hurried. When the body receives rest, it does not rush as much. It trusts timing more. Trust replaces urgency. Urgency often comes from fear of not being enough. Rest teaches the body that you are already enough. Nothing more needs to be proven. I want you to rest in that understanding. You are not required to earn peace. Peace arises when resistance ends. Life itself supports this rhythm. The night exists for rest. Darkness invites stillness. When you align with this natural order, you feel carried instead of pushed. You may notice moments of quiet gratitude arising naturally. Gratitude not for achievements, but for the simple experience of being held, of being allowed to stop. This gratitude is a sign that tension has eased. I often say that life loves you. Tonight, that love appeared as permission. Permission to rest, permission to let go, permission to be unfinished and still worthy of care. This love does not leave when you wake. It remains available in every pause, every breath, every moment you choose kindness over pressure. As this epilogue settles, let it feel like a soft continuation rather than a conclusion. You are not finishing anything. You are learning a new way of meeting yourself. The mind is learning it does not need to guard you at all times. The body is learning it does not need to stay tight to survive. The heart is learning it can trust your presence. These learnings take root quietly. You do not need to watch them grow. They will reveal themselves through ease. If you wake during the night, greet yourself gently. Return to a familiar phrase or the feeling of your breath. There is no rush. Even wakeful rest is healing. If sleep comes quickly, allow it. Trust that rest is exactly what you need. Nothing is required of you now. You have done enough by listening, by allowing, by choosing gentleness. The night is holding you, life is steady, and you are safe to rest deeply, knowing that calm is no longer something you seek, it is something you are learning to allow. I want to offer you now a gentle nighttime activity you can return to whenever your mind feels restless or your body has difficulty letting go. This is not an exercise to perform correctly, and it is not something to complete. It is an experience to move through slowly, with kindness. Think of it as time you are spending with yourself, not time you are spending on yourself. This activity is meant to be done in bed or in a quiet place where you feel safe. You may keep your eyes open or closed. You may move slowly or remain still. There is no right way to do this. The only invitation is to stay present with yourself in a loving way. Begin by noticing where you are. Feel the surface beneath you. Let yourself sense how you are being supported without effort. You do not need to hold yourself up. The bed, the chair, or the floor is doing that for you. Allow this support to be real. Many people carry their own weight even when support is available. Tonight, let yourself be held. Take a gentle breath, not to change anything, but to notice that breathing is already happening. Notice the inhale arriving on its own. Notice the exhale leaving on its own. There is nothing you need to manage here. The body knows how to breathe. Trust it. Now bring your attention to your forehead. Notice if there is any tension there. Do not try to remove it. Simply acknowledge it. If you like, you may quietly say, "I notice you." Often tension softens when it feels noticed without being judged. Allow your attention to move slowly to your eyes. Let them rest in their sockets. If they feel tired, acknowledge that tiredness with kindness. Your eyes have done enough for today. You may say inwardly, you may rest now. Bring your awareness to your jaw. Many people hold the day here without realizing it. Notice if your teeth are touching. If they are, you may allow a small space to open between them, not forcing, just allowing. Let the tongue rest comfortably in the mouth. Now notice your neck and shoulders. These areas often carry responsibility. Notice their position. Notice their weight. Imagine gently that they are being supported from beneath. You do not need to carry them. If you like, you may say, "I release what I no longer need to hold tonight." Let your attention move to your chest. Notice the rise and fall with each breath. If there is tightness or heaviness here, do not try to fix it. Simply place awareness there like a warm hand. Awareness itself is soothing. You may quietly say, "It is safe to feel what I feel." Let these words land without needing to believe them completely. The body hears the intention behind them. Bring your awareness to your stomach. This is an area that often tightens when the mind is busy. Notice if it is holding or gripping. You may imagine the breath reaching this area, gently expanding and softening it. There is no rush. Let the body move at its own pace. Now notice your lower back and hips. These areas often carry fatigue. Acknowledge the work they have done today. You may say, "Thank you." Gratitude, even when simple, creates relaxation. Let your awareness move down your legs. Notice their weight. Notice how they are supported. You do not need to move them or adjust them unless it feels comfortable to do so. Stillness is welcome here. Finally, bring your attention to your feet. Notice their temperature. Notice any sensations present. Your feet have carried you through the day. Let them rest now. Take a moment to sense your body as a whole, not to evaluate it, just to feel it. Feel how it exists in space. Feel how it is being supported. This awareness alone begins to calm the nervous system. Now, gently bring your attention to your mind. Do not try to quiet it. Simply notice its activity. Thoughts may be present. Images may arise. Sounds may come and go. Let them be. You are not required to follow any of them. Imagine your mind as a place that has been busy all day. A room with many open windows. Tonight, you are not closing the windows forcefully. You are simply drawing the curtains softly. The room grows dimmer, quieter, safer. Now we will begin working with affirmations, but not in a rigid way. These affirmations are invitations. You may repeat them silently or softly aloud. You may repeat them exactly or adjust them so they feel more natural to you. Begin with this gentle phrase, I am safe right now. Repeat it slowly. Allow a pause after each repetition. Notice how your body responds. You may repeat it several times or just once. Trust your sense of when it is enough. Now offer this phrase, it is all right for me to rest. Notice if any resistance appears. If it does, greet it kindly. Resistance often means you are learning something new. Continue repeating the phrase gently until it feels softer. Next offer, I do not need to solve anything tonight. Let this land. You are not dismissing your responsibilities. You are giving them a place to rest until morning. Notice if your shoulders soften as you repeat this. Now say, my body knows how to relax. You are not commanding your body. You are trusting it. Trust communicates safety more clearly than instruction ever could. Now offer, my mind is allowed to slow down. Notice if your thoughts respond. They may not disappear, but they may feel less urgent. That is enough. Take a few moments to repeat any of these phrases that feel especially comforting. Repetition is not about getting it right. It is about familiarity. Familiarity creates calm. If thoughts interrupt, that is all right. Gently return to a phrase or to the feeling of your breath. Returning is the practice. Nothing more is required. Now, imagine that each thought you have is like a leaf floating on water. You do not need to pick it up. You do not need to examine it. You simply watch it drift by. Your affirmations are like the steady current beneath the surface, carrying everything gently forward. If at any point you feel emotional, allow that emotion to be present. There is no need to analyze it. Emotion is movement. Movement is release. You may place a hand over your heart if that feels comforting. Physical contact can deepen the sense of safety. Let your hand rest there without expectation. Now offer yourself this phrase, I am kind to myself tonight. This affirmation is powerful because it sets the tone for everything else. Kindness changes how the body interprets experience. Stay with this phrase for a few breaths. If you notice yourself becoming drowsy, allow it. If you remain awake, that is also fine. This activity is not about falling asleep. It is about creating the conditions for rest. Sleep will come when it is ready. If you wake during the night, you may return to any part of this activity. You may simply place a hand on your body and repeat, I am safe. That is enough. Before we finish, take a moment to acknowledge yourself. You took time to listen inwardly. You chose gentleness. That choice matters. You may end this activity whenever you wish. You may drift into sleep during it. You may repeat it another night. There is no schedule. Trust what feels right. Remember this, calm is not something you achieve. It is something you allow by how you treat yourself. Tonight, you have practiced allowing, and that is more than enough. Let us rest together for just a few more quiet moments. There is nothing to do now, nothing to remember, nothing to complete. Simply allow yourself to be here. Notice your breath moving gently, without effort. Each breath is a reminder that life is supporting you even when you are still. You do not need to help it. If thoughts appear, let them drift by like soft clouds. You do not need to follow them. You are safe where you are. Quietly remind yourself, I am at peace right now. Let the words be gentle, not forced. Even if you do not feel complete calm, the intention is enough. Feel the support beneath you. Let your body grow heavy and relaxed. You are allowed to stop holding everything together. There is nothing you need to fix tonight, nothing you need to solve. Rest is already happening. Allow yourself to soften into the night, trusting that you are cared for and protected. The night is kind, and you may rest. Stay with me for just a little while longer. In this gentle stillness, there is no need to move toward sleep or away from wakefulness. Wherever you are right now is exactly right. Let your attention rest softly on your breath, not changing it, just noticing it. The breath comes in and the breath goes out. Life is taking care of this for you. You do not need to manage it. If your mind offers a thought, greet it kindly and let it pass. You do not need to answer it. You do not need to follow it. Tonight, thoughts are allowed to drift without direction. Feel how your body is supported. Notice the places where you can let go just a little more. The shoulders, the jaw, the belly. You are safe enough to soften here. Quietly say to yourself, all is well in this moment. Say it gently, as if you were comforting a dear friend. Let the words settle without effort. You have done enough for today. You are allowed to rest without guilt. Life continues to love and support you, even while you sleep. Allow the night to hold you now. You do not need to hold yourself together anymore. And as you drift, remember this: you are safe, you are cared for, and you are at peace. Rest well.